I'm Brittany with Stitches of Love Quilting, and in this video, we are going to put together our applique pieces for our gingerbread block, which is block 7 of your Christmas Lane Block of the Month experience. So what you'll do is get all of your pieces out of your box, go on and remove the paper backing from your pieces, and get them in a nice little pile ready to go. Of course, you can go on and iron your background fabric. And now let's get ready to build the units. Okay, so you have your pattern. You're gonna open it up and read through your instructions. But what we need first right now for this video is our placement guide. So I'm going to move the rest of my pattern aside. And now in front of me, I have my perfect stack. I have my light pad, my glass mat. I'm gonna put my placement guide just above my glass mat, but underneath my fusing mat. And then to the side, I have my Steady Betty for when I'm ready to do my final pressing onto my fabric. So let's get going with piece number 1. Usually we build several different units in a block. For this block, we're gonna build just one big unit. Makes life easy. So first up, we're gonna put our white fabric in place, just like so. Then we are going to just give this a little bit of a press. It'll get ironed more when we put our gingerbread on. Now we're gonna do pieces 2 and 3 to build our little tree. Man, this little block is so quick and easy to build, my goodness. And it's a really fun block to stitch. I think the big flowy curves of the gingerbread body, I think are really fun to stitch. We're just gonna give that a press where it overlaps. Now already, time for the big gingerbread. Easy peasy. There we go. And if you want to go on and mark his face, of course, we'll do that. So we're going to iron where these overlap and then where it overlaps with the tree. Now it's time for our little squiggles. I'm actually going to pull my placement guide out. Let me show you a little trick. So obviously we know which one is our heart, but for the squiggles, I'm calling them a very official term, squiggles. You have 2 of each one because it's double lined. So I'm going to lay it out on my placement guide first so that I know which piece is which, and then I'll put my placement guide back under there. And it just makes it easier, I think, to know where they go. So let's put 7, 8, and then the ones over here, I'm gonna put on this side. So now I'll put my placement guide back underneath. Get this lined up again. Don't be afraid to move your placement guide and like look at it. Our heart on first, and if you need to like kind of peel your little piece up and take a look, you can. So we have our heart right here. And now we have our squiggles. They're really like the icing on him. Right? He's got little icing. So just put it just like so. And when you're stitching, is that not the same piece? Oh my goodness, look at that, you guys. I have 2 squiggles not matching. Squiggle. These 2 match. See, I even used my placement guide. These 2 match. Oh my goodness. Let's take a look again. Those squiggles look so similar. This one is this one. This one is this one. See those squiggles? They're all different, but they look a lot alike. That's funny, isn't it? Okay, so let's put one right in place. See, again, doing it like this where you're working on your applique unit before you're actually like on your fabric. If you're gonna make a mistake, you're gonna catch it before it's a big deal. And that's what we like. So I'm just gonna take a little glimpse and the longer part goes this way. Cool. So easy, right? And put our icing. This is a giant gingerbread. He's so cute. If you like gingerbread at Christmas time, he would taste delicious. I would prefer some fudge over gingerbread when it comes to actually eating. And then we have our squiggle down here at the bottom right leg. And if I can grab a hold of one of them. Bloop, bloop. There we go. So our squiggle here, give it a little press, and then the squiggle right on top. There we go. And now we'll do the one on the left. And already, whoops, my elbow hit my light. Already we have our unit built and we'll be ready to put it onto our background fabric. I do want to draw his face though. And then in just a moment after we put it on our fabric, we'll talk about some stitch tips. Like I said, this one's a really fun one to stitch. These big curves are just very forgiving and fun. So now for the face, you can use either the Soline chalk pencil or the Micron Pigma pen. I'm gonna use the Pigma pen. Let me get an idea of where his little eyes are. And then what I'm gonna do for his mouth is do the straight lines at the corner and then I'll connect. Let's see, where's the point? Like right there. I'm gonna give myself a little dot right here. So as I'm tracing, I know that I'm gonna come to the right point and be able to pick up my pen easily. Now again, if you wanna use your Soline chalk pencil here, I would say the Soline chalk pencil might be a little bit more forgiving, but when I stitch this, I'm gonna go over it maybe more than once and make it a little thick. Okay, so voila, look at that. You have built your little gingerbread that quickly. We're just gonna gently lift him up. And now we will move our fusing mat aside. Let me sit it over here. There we go. And now we take our super cute fabric. You can turn your light pad back on. And you can see these outer lines of your trim line. It's gonna be 8 inches trimmed, that outer line. So of course your fabric in your kit is way more than you need. And then you take your little guy and you line him up just so. Let's see, he's got a wiggle this way. There we go. That was it this month. Oh my goodness, so fast. So I'm gonna give him a quick press just to hold him here, and then I'm gonna get my Steady Betty and put this on my Steady Betty for the final press. We can turn our light pad off and let's rearrange for just a second. Bring this right in. And now you don't need your placement guide anymore. So we can put that over with our pattern. And now it's time to really iron this little guy on. So you just wanna make sure you lift your iron, you don't drag it because you don't wanna accidentally move a piece or move this out of position. You do have to press just a bit longer on the double line piece because obviously it's going through 2 layers. The heat is, only takes a second though. And there we go. This is ready to stitch. So let me get the one that I've already stitched and we'll talk about some of the stitch tips for it. So of course you're going to use your chart in your pattern that tells you your stitch order. Can't be any easier. So first up, you're gonna stitch your turquoise, which is your snow, just like almost, I think all the blocks actually have snow, don't they? So just that little turquoise across right here, very easy. You can stitch all the way to the ends if you want, but it goes in the seam allowance, so you don't have to. And then of course the sides and the bottom are gonna be in your seam allowance. Next up, you'll do your 1130 dark brown, which will be the little tree trunk, super quick, easy. You do want to, right here, I took the stitch down a little bit compared to how I've stitched on the gingerbread, the heart, and the snow, because you want to make sure that those stitches aren't totally overlocking. You want them to come near each other, but not all the way just like overpowering your tree trunk. Then you'll do the 1177 around your tree, nice and easy on that tree. Then, of course, your gingerbread, the medium tawny tan. And again, just remember on curves, put your needle down in that position and pivot. And this little guy is so easy to glide around. A really big tip though, if you look at where your icing is, when you come near that icing, especially like on his arms right here, take your stitch in just a little bit. Make it just a hair shorter when you come right there so that you don't stitch onto your white. After you have him stitched, you'll do his heart in the true red. Then of course your icing. And on the icings, I did take this stitch in a little bit smaller, so meaning that bite in is smaller so that it doesn't overlap. It comes really close to each other, but it's not overlapping. And then the black, of course, at the end, bring him to life with his cute little eyeballs and his mouth that you can do on your sewing machine, or if you want to do it by hand with a black embroidery floss, you certainly can. So I hope that this was very helpful and you enjoyed making your little gingerbread block. Next month, I believe, if I remember right, block 8 is Santa Claus, which is going to be a ton of fun to stitch. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out, and happy stitching!